watching the clock, 10,000 hours go by. I keep putting in work, the tears are filling my eyes. I swear I've never been tested like this, but this is mine. It's not a matter of chance, just a matter of time. Never look back. If something's standing in my way, I always push back. If something seemed impossible, I never took that. Nah, cause now I know better. Can't stop, won't stop, I won't quit ever. The highest fall, it won't break me. The blood and sweat is what made me. I'ma get mine, just a matter of time.
Hello guys, welcome to another midway analysis with Tangun and Vittori. We're back again, and this time Kingzone punch back real hard as they take a convincing victory in the second set. Both teams, they had very interesting combinations and compositions. You know, gameplay wise, there are a lot of things that we should take a deeper look at. A lot of highlights in this game as well. You know, there were a lot of those dive attempts made in this game. Okay, let's have a look at the scene where there was a lot of aggression from both sides. And let's see how the enemy reflected on the enemy aggression. Here, Morgana TPs and joins the team fight. And a lot of things going on in this skirmish. And with the Ignite, they kill Pyke as well. You know, that Hanwha Life Esports TP was actually very nice, and you know, there was good result made from it. And let's have a look at this in a more slow replay. So Morgana here TPs and then uses Flash Ult and only reaches two people, doesn't really reach prey as he's not CC'd. And Peanut dashes to Gorilla and re-engages with his ult. And is able to save prey overall. And then he uses the Ignite on Pyke, and Pyke eventually dies. As for Pyke, you know, the gray health, it indicates how much damage he has taken from the enemy. But Ignite is actually the perfect counter to this attribute. So even if he's getting healed, Ignite can actually just render it useless. And the Ignite actually exposes the target, whether he's in the push or not. And since Pyke was in the push, Gorilla ignited him so that he can keep a vision on him. There was a great highlight and great move made by Kingzone. And let's have a look at the reaction from the community. Gorilla's perfect flash taunt and Zaya's hard carry meta right now. And Zaya, the win rate right now is 10 wins, 1 loss. And you know, people are saying that Twisted Fate might have not been the optimal card here in this game. And the last one says BDD Zoe is very, very strong as usual. Now it's a 1-1 tie. And let's see the one-line summary. Okay, so he says it's an emergency, and in Korean it says praise Zaya is in emergency. That's the end of interview.
Thank you very much, Andy. It's a praise Zyra emergency. I like it.
I'm not going to think about that too much. I'm going to focus on the MVP. There's two people in my mind this could be. One of them is going to be Prey. Picks up the MVP, popped off on the Xayah. The moment he had 5 kills after that botch dive, you knew that this game was as safe as houses for Kingzone Dragonx.
Oh, yes. And he was able to keep himself safe throughout a lot of these fights. I felt like there were, like you say, a few different options as far as the MVP was concerned. But Khan certainly one of those options. Peanut played phenomenally well.
I thought Peanut was even better than Cuz when he played Xayah. I think Peanut has a, tail end of his career. If this jungling thing doesn't work out, maybe some support initiations, Ignar-esque player could be Peanut.
Yeah.
He really didn't calculate this enough.
Oh, that was such a good
gave
outplay
the
by
bonus
Prey.
kill.
Massive outplay.
Yeah, that's the best one. They caught it on camera, so that's good.
Yeah.
But Prey was just great. I mean, he's a fantastic Xayah. We saw yesterday Ruler have a fantastic game on Xayah himself. So seeing a great AD carry on Xayah, always a treat.
Yep. And the knowledge that we got from that interview with our two friends from OGN was really good about the fact that Ignite does reveal you denying Pyke basically everything ever.
Well, also he can't pick up his healing that he gets, the missing health healing.
That's what I mean, yeah.
If he's affected by damage, which of course is the combat nature of Ignite. So yes, smart move there. Igniting him. Song 1 chased down, and this is the part where the game was over. It took a while afterwards. We didn't bother to show it. It's as if the game ended right there.
Well, it basically did. You're exactly right. Prey picking up that MVP. Didn't die on his Xayah. It's just good to see him on an AD carry.
But
I feel
now,
like it does work a lot better that way.
we've got a third game, Atlas. Some extra League of Legends. Too many 2-0-2-0 series. Let's go to a third one.
Yeah, and when it goes back to relatively standard play, who's going to be able to reign supreme? Is it going to be blue side that's going to be the victor here, or is it going to be the momentum gained from a victory in Game 2?
Final game for Kingzone Dragonx before they go over to China, to Dalian for the Rift Rivals tournament. Now remember, Hanwha Life are back on blue side. So far this series has been blue side. Blue side, you also have a bit more flexibility. That some of those bans, surely Xayah or Rakan, are accounted for or first picked by Hanwha Life.
Well, Hanwha Life now going to start with the Camille ban. They can first pick the Rakan if they want to. They can try their hands at the composition themselves.
But then also you might see a power pick Xayah on the side of Prey. Can play Xayah without the Rakan. And
yeah,
then
true. They might play it with an Alistair or something instead.
Then suddenly you're already kind of, instead of being forward thinking, you're being a bit reactive. Oh, right, okay, we can't do that. We have to do this. And I know the draft is like that a bit anyway. Something has to give. The Nocturne, for example, has slid out once, just once so far on patch 8.12.
Will it be the Aatrox now banned away from Hanwha Life, just running back the same bans from Game 1? Certainly could be an option, making sure that Kingzone have to ban the Nocturne, and then could be a very similar experience. Morgana, though, going to be the ban from Hanwha.
They don't want to deal with any robots. They don't want to see a roaming Blitzcrank coming through from Gorilla this time out. So the Morgana is banned. And now you could just spend a couple of seconds listing all the champions available. Let's see what Kingzone respect. Because remember, Hanwha are the most able to show us new stuff and also throughout the funnel. I believe they funneled the most of any team so far in the LCK. We will see the Nocturne locked in. But with Braum banned away, most funnel options are gone. Zoe's going to be power picked, and I think it's time for BDD to shelve the Aurelia and find that Galio button.
The Galio button, the LeBlanc button, either of those two I feel completely fantastic about. The Aurelia, not a good one.
On the Korean client, Galio's actually one of the first champions at the top left because people remember that it was Galio, Gangplank, and Garen that were the big bans for FLICKR when he would just go for the auto bans up the top. They skip over the Zoe for now, and now Kingzone have to think a little bit. Could just avoid picking it and then take the answer to it at BDD's pick. So not the easiest navigation here. The very high priority Shen, and maybe we'll see some attacking of the duo lane, some range champions to take him down.
Well, I think that we're going to see a Trundle, Pub Smithy. That's what I think, as Swain is going to be picked up after the Sejuani. Exactly the same two picks that Kingzone went for in their first round, and they're losing Game 1. So it doesn't necessarily seem brilliant.
But could just be the more conventional mid lane Swain from BDD. Could also be BDD moving to the bot lane if they need to, playing that Swain.
Yeah,
and for Hanwha Life, they say, well, we'd love to kill Peanut Sejuani, like we saw Cuz slain in game number 1, the same jungle matchup. Where does the divergence come from Hanwha Life Esports, though?
Well, Lava's going to show us. 10 seconds now on the clock. Does he just pick the Zoe? You were musing about that earlier on. Still a lot of other options, but would make a lot of sense.
I'd like the Zoe pick, because if it is Zoe versus Swain, you feel pretty good about that mid lane matchup. If it's Prey not an AD carry, you feel pretty good about that. And the funnel is unlikely one you've seen Sejuani reveal. Not impossible. There has been some support Sejuani shenanigans going around for a long time, and also in recent memory. But I feel like this is a time where you feel pretty good that you're going to be getting the mid lane matchup, given that Kingzone lost game number 1 with Prey on that mage.
And Zoe has been 100% win rate so far this series. Tahm Kench. Support that has fallen down in priority, was phenomenal on 8-11, but hasn't seen as much 8-12 prio.
Shen Morgana have kind of eaten his lunch in many ways.
However, he can go in and eat as much lunch as he wants. Has been locked in here as Morgana, Rakan, Braum, and the Shen are all accounted for.
Well, look, we've seen the Swain Tahm Kench lane a couple of times. That just might be the bot lane duo for Kingzone. We don't know. Hanwha Life doesn't know. The Ezreal ban begins to suggest it. We'll check in very soon. And banning a champion like Ezreal and saying, by the way, it's Swain Tahm Kench bot lane. We're not playing Ezreal Tahm Kench, might provoke some pretty targeted bans here from the side of Hanwha Life, assuming the roles, and may leave them to leave up something like the Yasuo and the Galio, which are 2 big picks into the Zoe. So there's a lot of mind games about bans. They're not always insurance for a laning phase. Sometimes they're to throw you off the scent.
Yeah, and at the moment, they're not too scared about the Aurelia either, as the Vladimir going to be taken away. Was picked up, of course, by Sangyun in game number 1 and was played expertly well. Another Predator Vladimir on the bottom side of the map that showed a lot of prowess, but not this game.
Do you ban the Galio or do you not, is the question that Hanwha Life are posed with. They're unsure. They're not sure what to think of here. When it comes to the mid lane, they'll go for one that targets the Zoe a bit more aggressively, so it's still a mid laner.
And I was about to ask whether they ban that instead. It's just choosing which counter pick they're going to take away, but Aatrox left available and unbanned this particular round. Could be going into the hands of either BDD or Khan. Remember, this was a matchup that we saw the Aatrox picked into.
What is the matchup, though, is the question.
The Zoe matchup is what I was talking about.
The top side is also interesting, and there's so much flex going on here because it could still just be
Swain.
A top lane Aatrox, and then you're thinking, do I want a Renekton? What do I want here? Sangyun, speaking of what he wants, has been Vlad Rise for most of the season. Rise against the Vlad, though, most often.
It was the Varus that was banned in game number 1, replaced with the Vladimir, but decides that Rise is going to be his choice.
I guess wants to be laning against a Swain in that scenario, and they say, all right, we know what you're doing. The Renekton would be, we think it's Aatrox top lane.
The Kayn would be not happening.
Nope. But the Darius is a little bit more all over the place and thus can be considered in multiple scenarios. They keep playing with this choice. What do they select, given that Kingzone have a lot of flex options and BDD will be jumping on the mid lane Aatrox, the mid lane Swain, or a new champion?
Oh, God.
Is he going to roll it back?
I'm frightened if he does.
Remember, Galio is open here if it is to be the mid lane counter pick. That is what a lot of teams recently have been choosing, as Aurelia's win rate has been the toilet outside of BDD.
Yes.
BDD lost in game number 1. That means overall this season, 2-3, I believe, on that Aurelia.
They're picking it up.
Bit of a gasp. He's going to return to the Aurelia and try to make it work again.
How many times do you have to lose before you stop trying to redeem yourself and just give up and just play something else? We know that the Galio works fantastically well. The Echo that we've seen from both of these mid laners actually does work very well as well.
I guess BDD's rationale is game was lost largely around having Cuz so far behind. Let's adjust our jungle pathing, not have the Trundle ruin the Sejuani's day. I won't double flash and not get a kill. and things will be fine. And he has won this matchup this season. However, last 2 times he's been in it, he's lost.
Yep, and this is precisely the same game. There's a few different names, but as far as what these compositions are doing, it's pretty much the same story. You've got Mundo in a matchup that he's going to struggle in. You've got the mages on the bottom side of the map, and you've got Zoe versus Aurelia and Trundle versus Sejuani. So, can Peanut be the redeeming factor, or is it going to be him going down the same path as Cuz?
And performance-wise, can BDD increase his own performance? Because in a vacuum, regardless of what happened in the jungle, he was poor in game number 1.
Yeah.
He's bringing it on himself. There were safer choices. There were playmakers open. He chose the Aurelia. He brought it on himself. He says, I'm going to be the big carry before we go over to Dalian China for Rift Rivals.
Yep, wanting to make sure that his Aurelia is respected, because it should be a good matchup into the Zoe, should be something that you're able to get done. Wasn't able to in game number 1. Certainly everything turned around in game 2, but a very different strategy. And now this really shows that momentum will be a huge factor if they can actually win this game with very just run it back compositions.
And I'm up in the air. I feel like the drafts are pretty equal. Hanwha Life, though, in a very similar scenario, picked up their win in game 1. Seems like we have a couple of further issues before we're ready to get into game. While Kingzone won the last, while you want to believe in the double back-to-back champions taking this down, Hanwha Life have been practiced, and they really want a big scalp like Kingzone.
Yeah, a little bit of an interface error, apparently, so we're just going to have a slight pause before we can get that one sorted out and get us into this game. I believe it's over in the Hanwha booth. Looks like everyone is working as quickly as they can to try and sort that one out. Oh, Gorilla looking very, very focused moving into this game.
BD also knows that he's brought a lot on himself.
Yeah.
Either the fans will be praising him or they will definitely be flaming him, Atlas. He's going for the Aurelia one more time.
Yeah, we'll see whether he can actually make it work this time, guys. Game number 3, let's hit the Rift. Well, some desperation here, making sure that Kingzone can have the best performance moving towards Rift Rivals. See, no shenanigans to start things off.
Look, it's Cloud Templar.
Yeah, he's looking really cute.
Cloud Templar does some, I guess you would call it gender bending cosplays from time to time that OGN has put on the stream in the past.
Yeah, they're often very romantic and highly adorable. Looking over at Cloud Templar right now, a sly grin on his face.
Ironically, his love, Dongjun, the other Korean caster, isn't here today. Mad Life is in his spot.
Yeah, but we know that Cloud Templar and Mad Life certainly have some love for each other as well, so the bromance remains strong, even though it's a different one. Okay, well.
Level 1 here can be interesting. Remember, Hanwha Life got that big vision advantage and then punked them. And speaking of punking them,
yeah, they don't have this
come.
information right now as they're just going to wait. Will they be able to find the smite?
God.
No, they're not going to walk in. Can't. Finally gets in there. Songwon steals away the red buff, and immediately Flash has to be used again. Disaster start for Kingzone.
And it's just a different way to navigate the level 1. Very creative by Hanwha Life and well pulled off. We're seeing that win rate in the mid lane as well. 2 and 3, so a negative win rate is the contribution by BDD. Peanut gives up a buff. He didn't use his smite. Didn't die at level 2 just yet.
Oh, it's still a huge worry. Gets himself over to his blue buff. Will be able to take that one, but I have a feeling that a 3-buff start will certainly be available to the Trundle if he wants to.
We've all felt that jump scare at level 1, Atlas.
Oh, yeah.
When you're jungling yourself and the enemy jungler shows up and smites.
And also the massive regret of not pulling it into the brush. You know, you're like, oh, this time around it'll be fine. It never is. There's always a Master Yi in there, Alpha Strike smiting to take away your buff.
Now I know what elo range you're in.
What, anything in Korea?
Yep.
Thank you very much. Okay, Peanut is trying to steal away some raptors, but wasn't actually able to do so, as we've got a catfish just parading around the river exactly where he wants to be. Didn't get too much vision there in the jungle. I thought that they might have been trying to get some deeper vision to try and keep their eyes on where the Trundle is, but Songwon going to remain unseen.
I'm appreciating the attention and time that Songwon and Hanwha Life Esports have put into counter-jungling a Sejuani, because Sejuani is a power pick ever since the end of 8-11. Nice
Okay.
all in here.
Yeah, we've got the Ignite coming down as Lava uses the cleanse, gets rid of the fire. BDD now will have to try and deal with the follow-up damage, but no portal jump available for Lava, so he should be fine.
Discussed this many times, but if you can freeze it just outside of turret range, that is the gold standard for an Aurelia. That's why she was happy to take a bit more damage, using all of her corrupting potion stacks. See some warning pings around the camp. They assume that Peanut is out. We know they're correct, and that Peanut is, in fact, on the top side taking the Krugs.
Yep, good heads-up play from Hanwha Life, understanding the predictive paths. Linderung just hanging out. Does have a level advantage here against Khan.
Coming back to Sejuani, though, if everyone's going to blind pick at Atlas, there's ways to attack it, whatever champion you choose, whether it's a Trundle who can also just passively farm, or, in fact, a ganking jungler. Speaking of ganking junglers.
Yep, flash used by Linderung, but that means that the flash Arctic Assault's going to be there. Songwon, great positioning, but not enough to save his top laner. He still wants the fight, but he's just straight up going to die as Khan. One last auto, that's going to do it. He's got the passive, but didn't even really need it until the very end. And that's the fight back. Peanut, huge grin on his face.
Yeah, Peanut was the one to start the play. Very smart to flash behind and guarantee the W hits, rather than Blank, who sailed wide on that, chasing down Khan in series earlier this week. And then Songwon flashes in, and we've seen Trundles do well in those scenarios, but he horribly misjudges this one. He ends up just donating his life over. And thank you very much, Mundo. This lane sucks early, and now it's double buff on Aatrox.
Yep, it's just straight up the worst. We all know when our jungler comes up to say that he's helping, and then he's not helping. Linderung in that position right now. Songwon out of a flash, like you already mentioned, and Peanut with a much better time on his hands. As the boots picked up over the Trundle, and now he's going to head towards the mid lane to try and get some work done here with Lava.
Cleanse.
Yeah, going to get the Arctic Assault just straight up onto Lava, who just didn't really care too much. BDD finds himself a stun as Gorilla is going to eat some peanuts and spit them back out.
He's full health, so he'll be fine.
Keeps them alive. Everything's okay.
A lot happened this game already. Point I was trying to get to is, like Hanwha Life level 1 against the Sejuani in multiple different ways. I think a lot of teams could learn from that. Then mis-execution on the dive in game 2, and now the 2v2 failure has put them already into a bit of a tricky spot. Peanut and Gorilla roaming very early.
Yeah. Songwon now wants to at least do a little bit of battle here, but in fact, gives it over to the red buff of Khan. That's what we're talking about.
So Peanut actually called for the scuttle that time, and it was accidentally handed over to Khan.
Yep. Wasn't
And
donated.
now Peanut's trolling him by stealing away some experience. He's not, he's ganking, but you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. And I'm not sure whether your opponent can actually see that, as Arctic Assault again is going to land. See you later, Mundo.
Yeah, the lane sucks because you use 25% of your current HP and then you die faster is what happens when you don't have any items. Nothing Linderung can do. This is mostly Songwon giving over those double buffs and accentuating a problem for the side of Hanwha Life Esports, a problem they may not be able to emerge from.
Yeah, and the thing is that Kingzone did suffer a tempo disadvantage at the beginning of the game. They had that red buff stolen away from them. They had to adapt. It was Peanut this time. He did. He turned it into a gank towards the top side of the map, and now this is the terrifying time that you have when you're against Kingzone. It's the early game. It's not even 10 minutes in, and they're out-tempoing you all over the map.
And this is also the Peanut that the team doesn't always see. This is the Peanut from Spring who would turn every advantage into a bigger advantage and every disadvantage into something. We remember some great plays he played on Zac, where he fell behind but still made ganks happen when other people thought of Zac as only farm till level 6. Seeing him take what is an unfortunate level 1 and turn it into power is Peanut on the top of his game. And playing some time away helped, as BDD also has a point to prove.
Yeah, Ultimate flies forward. The flash after him. He's underneath the turret. Doesn't want to give the kill away with an assist. And he's going to trade 1-for-1. But thankfully the slow comes in for Songwon. They are at least going to be able to get something back there. But that is the power of Aurelia versus Zoe, even though he had to use everything to try and get it.
And when it rains, it pours, because now BDD can walk back to lane. If Peanut wants, he can freeze the wave for him. Otherwise, he can ensure it shoves, because the wave spot was the advantage you get on the all-in kill there for the Aurelia. Bot lane is doing just fine. Gorilla packed up and left this lane ages ago, but Key and Sangyun haven't been able to do anything to the Swain. In fact, Prey has a pretty comfortable CS lane.
Yeah. 72 to 58. There is a bit of a parade of minions underneath this turret. Kingzone are going to spend some time taking this Ocean Drake.
It's so
first
safe.
dragon of the game.
They have exactly all the information. There's no chance they don't know where the enemy jungler is, because he's either going to path straight to the Drake or he's going to go first to his red, then to the Drake. So the red buff was the most important thing for Hanwha Life Esports and their jungler to know about. Control Ward was spotting it. Free Drake. Ocean Drake early game. We all know about it. Nice stuff from Kingzone.
Yeah, really nicely done. So the 3-0 Aatrox, he was moving down the river as well because there wasn't a heck of a lot more that he could do. His minion wave was destroyed. He's able to move on down. Looking here on the bottom side of the map, half the health bar of Prey has been used up, but Sangyun doesn't have a lot of mana to speak of.
Wish I knew what gave rise to this version of Peanut, the one that can both accelerate games and turn around bad games, because didn't see it at MSI. Really struggled after all the hype I and many other people had given him for being the best jungler in the world. He had a pretty woeful tournament. Yep. He's been out of the lineup here, so he's already been up and down on the season, but this today is the sign of Peanut really rared up and ready to go. Maybe Cuz starting is something that can unlock the potential from Peanut. He's had a very good start to game number 3.
Yeah, and is an option for them even in Rift Rivals as well. No, it is more of a best-of-1 scenario.
No ambiguity about their roster. They only have 6 people on it.
Yeah. Like one of those question marks. SKT certainly was, but this is a question mark because Hanwha Life getting well and truly dove. Key, nice flash to get them out of the way, but Prey's still able to grab the kill, was tanking the turret, and gets himself out. All too easy here for Kingzone on the bottom side.
Yep, it seems like every lane is losing for the side of Hanwha Life Esports. The mid lane, this time we've seen the Aurelia not have to try to defend her jungler. Just play aggressive. Play for yourself, BDD. Don't try to salvage anything for me. Speaking of BDD.
Yeah, it's going to throw in the ultimate as Songwon is going to come down. Good stopwatch, though. Denies BDD the kill. Just enough time here for Lava, who gets licked. The flash comes in from Gorilla, and he says, nope. It's another 1-for-1. Eats his grey health, and Songwon might even be eating himself underneath the turret. There it is, but it's going to be picked up, traded, actually, as Songwon's going to go down to the turret.
2-for-1, baby. Nice trade for Gorilla. This Tom Kench ate everything he wanted, enjoyed it. 2-course meal coming through for the Tom Kench. When it rains, it pours.
It does.
The only way to summarize this game. Everything falling apart for Hanwha. Already comfortable gold lead for Kingzone, and that's not even mentioning the Mundo predicament when it's a 3-0-0 Khan on the Aatrox.
Yeah, he's got his executioners calling, got his team out as well to keep shoving things forward. Linderong looks like he's okay with how the situation is, just holding this minion wave underneath the turret. Not a lot of meaningful turret damage being taken, but Khan has his teleport and he has a lot of money to buy some extra items. I have a feeling that when he comes back, it's going to be a different story for the Mundo. A little bit more for him to deal with. This BDD happily skipping around this minion wave. Lava going to have a little bit more of a rough time. Not going to find the stun on him though, meaning that Peanut unable to get in here for a game.
No ults, whether it's the Vanguard's Edge or Peanut's ultimate. They're both on cooldown.
Yeah.
Teshwani. Let me spot it. That's the ward just put down by someone. Here comes Gorilla.
Yep, everyone's actually turning up here. Arctic Assault's going to land good. Permafrost comes in as well as Peanut's used a lot of his health bar already, but that's going to be the kills as everyone's piling in. Stand United's almost enough, but Blade Surge gets the reset on the Trundle. Are they going to go for the dive? I think 3v3 underneath 2 turrets is probably a bad idea, but Prey wants his Demon Flare, gets it with a whole bunch of extra damage to boot, and BDD now off on the other side, could be in trouble, wants to find a double kill, and the Ignite, the only thing stopping him from getting all that health back from the Blade Surge.
Hanwha Life Esports have only angered Kingzone in this game number 3, rolling back their game 1 that didn't work after that early game. They're just smashing them.
God, Linderong. Okay, Sadism going to keep a little bit of his health bar back in here, but now we know what could happen if he stands too close to the Aatrox.
Didn't use his stopwatch there either, did Linderong. That was confidence, maybe false bravado, hard to say. His turret almost incidentally has died.
Yeah. Peanut not going to get trouble bubbled there by Lava, who utilized the opportunity to push this wave further forward, but let's have a look at this fight once again. And you were talking about bravado. I feel like that's a pretty key word for this particular fight.
Timings are really good here because they know Sejuani ultimate's about to come up to Kingzone. That's why they're completely all in. Another Shen ultimate that was never really going to work with how much was up from this team. And yes, Kingzone do decide to style a little bit. They are trying to get back some confidence after losing game number 1. Prey knew his damage calculation pretty well that time. Was a kind of out of team fights in game number 1, but knew how much damage the Demon Flare would do, and it still ends up being a 2-for-1 on the back end of the trades. Overall, 10-4. More than a kill a minute. This is becoming a Kingzone trope.
It certainly is. And it's also looking like BDD has found a bit of his mojo on his Aurelia as well, which is great to see. Almost has that Trinity Force complete. Key just backing up Lava as he doesn't find the stun. That was pretty close. Yeah, this is just the happy place of the Aurelia at this point.
Oh, yeah. Very, very strong. Freezing the wave. Doesn't care about the enemy jungler because the enemy jungler has fallen down 3 times already.
Feels like another kill availability, really. Opens up the map further for Kingzone as well, and that just means that turrets like this top outer will just fall. Looking to try and pressure this Bramble back as in goes BDD. Oh god, the Vanguard's perfect. Great triple stun to come in from the Aurelia as well as Prey. He's right in amongst it. They're just dancing around. It's a cluster, but it's working out well for Kingzone. Gorilla standing on the back. He can just eat up the Aurelia if he needs to, and does so. Meanwhile, the Mundo, just nothing he could do. Oh god, in goes Khan once again. Doesn't have the passage. Oh god, uses the ultimate to get the passive, keeps himself alive and baits in Key.
Apparently the bridge too far analogy doesn't translate to Korean because it seems like Kingzone have never heard it. They're already deciding that fighting in between 2 or 3 turrets is just fine. Pre-15 minutes in the game. Statement game by Kingzone, and that statement is, we're still around. Doesn't matter what our overall record is.
Yeah, and Khan's play just there basically broke my brain. The bait was pretty nice, utilizing the ultimate. He's got his Titanic Hydra as well. They're going to take down this Mountain Drake. Second one here for Kingzone. They've got everything. Feels like a birthday, as I believe this is the 400th game to come in for Gorilla as well.
And it seems like Hanwha Life weren't necessarily invited to the birthday, they just were adjacent. They're at the table next to the happy team because Kingzone have decided they're taking every fight. They're diving every turret. They have a very tanky lineup and Tahm Kench to remove aggro. And one of the reasons I think that Kingzone are looking to make this statement, Atlas, is when it comes to things like record. You did notice, by the way, that right at the end, like you mentioned, only then was the passive there. So understanding he was in range for the damage to be able to actually proc the well. That would have been awkward if he just died. There was no way for Tahm Kench to come in and join him. And when I speak about record, it's in terms of match record, because last season, Kingzone went 16-2. They've already lost 2 best-of-3s in the first 3 weeks of the LCK. So they don't want to lose to Hanwha Life Esports there. They dropped 7 games last season, Atlas. They've already dropped 7 games as of losing game 1 of this series. Kingzone need to show to themselves that they still have that grip on the top of the standings, and a win here is only just the start of what needs to be consecutive victories for them to come even close to their spring record.
Yeah, they'll have to just keep winning. So far this game, they certainly look like they will be able to do so. As far as moving towards Rift Rivals, also a great move for them because all of the momentum is necessary after Rift Rivals feels like a bit of a dirty word for a lot of our Korean teams.
Rift Rivals is always kind of awkward because your momentum towards Worlds is halted. The lack of Worlds implications means that for some people it's very significant and for other people it's not.
Yep.
I'm sure Kingzone, the fact that they didn't get to go last year will be very big for them because they did not finish top 4 in spring season. Their dominance feels like Kingzone have been champions for forever. Rift Rivals last year didn't indicate that, as we're getting another party on the Rift.
Yep, Prey's going to throw down the ultimate, and now no one's going to have a good time on Hanwha Esports side. Key's going to burn to death. BDD, right in the middle of this fight, will actually fall down as Linderong going to be slowing Gorilla. Now could it be the opportunity as Peanut can't find his entrance. Lava over the side almost lands the trouble bubble. That is a 1-for-1. And Khan is still split pushing on the top side.
Doesn't have a lot of attack speed, so Khan's split push isn't as big in this scenario. It's an outnumbering, plain and simple, sort of outnumbering that won Kingzone the game in the previous match where Khan split push as the failed turret dive came from Hanwha Life. Of course, your first thought is going to be another big win for Kingzone, but nice outnumbering, good realm warp. Actually, it wasn't even a realm warp, just a walk down. Yep. Hanwha Life were in position before Kingzone were and find their first good moment of the game.
Yeah. Certainly showing that there's still life in this team. No pun intended.
Esports.
Yeah.
That's your fake laugh, by the way.
That was my fake laugh.
Most people think your legitimate laugh is your fake laugh. You just laugh a lot.
I do.
That was a
flash.
pirated flash, yep.
Yep. BDD just clearing out the minion wave with the help of Gorilla. Probably not going to make those mistakes again on the side of Kingzone. You were saying they've been playing this entire game with a lot of aggression. Understandable aggression given the fact that they do have this huge lead, 8,000 gold. They're close to 20 minutes into the game.
These lanes are so extended as well with all the turrets they've been able to take on the top side. A lot of different avenues for them to find an Abyssal Voyage and look for more, and then also this man. Best of the way towards 2.5 items, working on his Rage Blade as second full completion. Yep. Ryze has gone Rod of Ages. Usually when we see bot lane Ryze, they'll go into just the tier, completed Seraphs, and try to build maybe... it's kind of situational what you see as a second item. We've seen a lot of different ways to go. I'm thinking of Shirelias in some games, Morellonomicon in other games. This game is going to be more about the scaling, and when you're already behind, also having less gold efficiency right now can be a pretty big problem.
Yep. And BDD going to help clear out this minion wave so HLE can do her thing. They just beat down the outer turret in the mid lane. Peanut grabbing that Rift Herald that he prepared earlier, and it's going to get a double charge as well. So half the health bar of the inner turret as well. Now the fight's going to break out. Good ult from Peanut to start this one off. The key has that dodge field, and Gorilla going to save his jungler while the ultimate is expended from BDD. So maybe some of those communication problems coming back. But now Kingzone re-engage. In goes Khan. Has the Bloodwell activated. Not even able to use it just yet, as it is going to be ticking down. Pick up the kill onto the Shen eventually. Kingzone still looking for more damage on this turret.
A lot of siege on the side of Kingzone. That's why they engage. They only a kill. Gonna have to back away, you'd think.
Yep, it's re-engage. Has been effective, but the Aatrox is going to move out of the way. Sadism comes in. That was a phenomenal stun as Kingzone say, yep, that's the go button. Khan says, I want in on this action. Doesn't quite have the Bloodwell set up for himself, and the dive is going to be flashed. Permafrost there onto Linderung as well as Vision of Empire, not going to pick up that kill. And Songyun got himself out, just running away. Songwon going to do the same thing towards the top side.
3-man never move from Prey. Oh boy, team fight.
I wasn't even aware you could even do that.
I wasn't aware it was thick enough either. The thickest never move we've ever seen.
That's a double C.
Well, Linderung's going to get ulted.
He is. There's a Shen going to turn up and put himself in the way of a really rough time as Prey just flash force pulses him. Gets pulled back in. He is certainly dead. Yeah, Permafrost is going to do that. That's the double kill. And Songyun is even going to die to the Aatrox, potentially. Nope. As he runs real fast with that passive, and Gorilla's just going to eat up the Aatrox and send him towards the Baron.
Eulogy a bit early, but I understand why you took it, because the Rage Blade was done. So his damage needs no introduction. Speaking of damage, now you see the Baron, now you don't.
Yep, Khan's going to be able to eat through that one. Has the help of BDD there as well. So, yep, this is a very dead purple worm, and absolutely nothing they can do because Songwon is nowhere near it.
So Baron you'll see with no marksman and no mid laner to really fully impact it. The Swain also very slow at it. They take it down, no problem. About 15 seconds to pick that one up. And now Kingzone are starting to hit the comical gold range at around 12,000 at 21 minutes.
Yeah, and Prey is heading towards a potential double MVP as well. 4-0 and 8 on this Swain. That huge never move that he picked up.
Level 1 Shen ultimate is never going to turn around this scenario. Prey flashes over and gets the kill. That was always going to be a 2-for-1 special there, so really don't understand why Key came in, but isn't a lot of good moves to be made when you're this far behind, so you can understand if perhaps the judgment calls are a little bit off.
Yeah, super great. 11,000 gold here, the lead. Baron ticking down. About 3 minutes available for that one. Triple Dragon, 4 turrets, soon to be 6. It's a real struggle for Hanwha Life. So BDD is just going to be dancing around what he can. Clear out minion waves, try and find this next fight.
Flashes down on the side of Kingzone. So the playmaker's going to have to be a little bit more honest.
Yeah.
Comes to the eventual closeout here. Another turret rolls down, 5-0. Only things picked up for Hanwha are the 5 kills and all the madness.
What can anyone do against Khan?
They can leave him.
Question.
They can leave him alone.
They can. So nothing. No. Yeah. That is what they can do.
Every man is an island.
Yep.
Especially Khan.
Real bad news. Well, Khan going to head towards this inhibitor turret on the bottom side. I have a feeling that if he's racing the 4 other members of his team, he may even win. He does do a lot of damage. Okay, mark available. Not going to be opted in for here from BDD, who did stack up that passive.
No banner of command, so some of these sieges have to either be dived on or will be a little bit slower than what we saw in previous patches.
Yeah. There's a big minion wave on the top side as well, so they've got pressure coming in from everywhere, and I feel like it's a matter of time here for Khan. He's going to dive his way out from the turret that did pick up some aggro onto the Aatrox. But here we are. Finally, the minion wave is enough for BDD to get some auto attacks in there alongside the Swain. And this inhibitor will be the first one to go down, and it may just start the domino effect. It's Peanut putting on a lot of pressure towards this bottom side. Khan, the beginning of the conga line, is going to move in, and Trouble Bubble now not finding the target means that Kingzone will easily take this one down. Pillar comes in, but that may actually start the fight here in Kingzone's favor. Nice double stun. BDD waiting for his opportunity. You can feel Kingzone. They want to fight, but they'll take the inhibitor just by itself if they can.
Low and steady so far from Kingzone. They don't want to walk up into melee range for their autos. For now, they're going to give up.
Khan very, very low. As there's the taunt. It's going to be Hanwha that start off the fight. BDD finds his way into the backline, though, getting those resets, stopping so much of the damage, and the Swain was ignored in the meantime. Double kill coming in for him, takes down 2 of the solo lanes. Inhibitor's going to be exploding. The Trundle dies to the Aurelia. BDD finding his revenge and looking for lava here as well. He's going to gatekeep him in his own fountain, and they will take down the Nexus. 17 seconds left on the Baron as well. Double kill, actually. Make that a triple, I believe. Yeah, it's a triple kill. Nice work, Lava. You played that one out nicely as Kingzone eventually lick down the Nexus.
And Kingzone were made mad in this particular game. They wanted to show a bit of a turnaround after their Game 1 destruction in a pretty similar draft. But this time, what wasn't working in Game 1 was coming off flawlessly. Peanut, after just losing his buff at level 1, made some smart moves, went top side, got it all rolling. Thought Peanut was excellent in this game number 3, and then Prey was showing a Swain game where he wasn't behind because of his team. The Aurelia, it was a bit too aggressive, but at least it was winning lane straight up, not having to try to spare the blushes of Cuz on the Sejuani, with Peanut having a much better early game. Things fall into place, and you start to understand the Game 1 draft a lot more after seeing Game 3.
Yeah, and you saw BDD getting a little bit of a shoulder rub from the coaches there. Finally able to find that victory that you were talking about on the Aurelia in the mid lane. And yeah, it did feel like disaster was going to repeat itself. I mean, the start of that game was very similar to the start of game number 1, but it was a buff being stolen, not first blood being picked up solo by the Trundle. It was not as much of an advantage being gained, even though the Trundle still did well early. And it was that over-aggression on the top side of the map from Songwon that really did bite him in the bum. Looking at some of the dejected faces from Hanwha Life, another one of these big-ticket teams that they were almost able to topple, but just failed at execution a few too many times this series.
It's a pretty nuanced discussion of what happens when you lose your buff versus what happens when you die as a jungler. The big takeaway is if you die around your blue buff, like we saw Cuz do, the enemy knows you're not going to re-enter that side of the jungle. You will be top side. You can kind of path and predict the path of a jungler, basically camp for like minutes after when you kill them. And that's the sort of thing that happened in Game 1. That didn't happen in Game number 3. They were surprised by Peanut's level 3 gank top side. Damage numbers, well, Zoe was able to do quite a lot as people were running straight at her, so it was hard to miss skill shots. Meanwhile, on the side of Kingzone, Aurelia came off, everything happened, and the Aatrox getting 3 kills and that double buffs was a problem that clearly Hanwha had no answer for.
Yeah, if you have a look at structure damage and minion damage, I think the Aatrox would certainly be well and truly up there.
Ooh, Tom Kench, 49 damage more than the Rise.
Damn.
Take that, Rise.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
Really sad.
I don't know about the Rise against anything other than Vladimir. I'm going to put it out there. But the Vladimir was banned, and the Rise fallback plan maybe needs a bit of beta testing. 24 minutes 39, one of our shorter games on patch 8.12. Still very well-deserved victory for Kingzone Dragonx.
Yeah, Kingzone coming out with a huge gold lead at the end there. It was, honestly, once tempo was in their favor, a destructive experience. And it's going to be Khan that grabs the MVP on the Aatrox on the top side of the map. 500 points now for the top laner of our LCK champions.
Many people putting up their hands in game number 3. I would have digressed. I thought Prey had an excellent game. I thought Peanut had an excellent game, given the scenario. But Khan also, when he gets going, can be so... I really, really think Peanut God moded this fight because flashing in front and then Wing back is so much safer than trying to reach for a narrow skill shot like we saw Blank do. in the SKT series, and then they stay, they kill Linderang a second time, the double boss looking oh so juicy. But then there's moments like this where Kings will say, well, we can't siege very well, let's try for something. Trying for something was Khan just killing Shen, and wherever Khan went, good things happened for Kings on Dragonx.
Yep. And he's pressing that ultimate button and cleaning everyone that's in front of him. That extended range. Really disgusting stuff from Kingzone. The fact that BDD got straight into the backline as well, making such a nuisance of himself, was really what came out ahead in this final fight. But there was already a gigantic gold lead. And Kingzone, despite game one looking honestly pretty troubling for our champion team, it's Hanwha Life that fell down in the last two. So let's go to the MVP interview. So Andy, take it away with the translation.
Hello everyone, this is the post-game MVP interview, and Kingzone secures their win in the third game and is able to close out the series 2-1. So now we're here with the two MVPs. I've never thought I would make this introduction, but you know, today's MVP, Prey, it's you. Hello everyone, I am the 10 out of 10 ADC Prey. Yeah, your ADC play was very interesting and was very nice today. And Khan, would you like to introduce yourself? I'm not sure how I got the MVP this set, but thank you for it. I'm Khan. You know, the weather today is very fluctuating. And for Prey, today is a very, you know, it's a very important day for you. So were you conscious of that today? You know, it's my 400 games today, and you know, I didn't think I would lose my 400th game. You know, you're definitely a man of many achievements, Prey. You know, as every year passes by, you know, I feel like that I'm actually aging. You know, I get exhausted more quickly, and I'm pretty sure you know Cloud Templar. You know, but those young fellas, you know, beside me, they are actually full of energy. You may not see it, but I'm actually only 2 years younger than Prey. You know, Prey is actually very young looking, like, yes, very. So before you got into the game today, you actually had a very, you know, you were actually doing that weird thing with Sang-yoon before we got into the first set. Let's have a look at this montage. This one. You know, he was initiating, so I just answered back at him. You know, that posture is really difficult to pull off. You know, Sang-yoon started the first, so I thought it was, you know, I thought it was good manners to actually, you know, answer back at him. Yeah, it was very funny to see. Okay, let's talk about the gameplay. You know, ADCs in general have declined in terms of like strengths after the patch, but you know, you play Xayah today, and it seemed very strong. So, you know, what do you think about the ADC right now? You know, I feel like the champions are very important as well. But, you know, all the other slaves that are supposed to support me are very important as well. You know, it's just a matter of like how those supporters who support me get fed in the early game. So it's very important that the other laners are able to win their lane in order for you to succeed. So, you know, this game was a good example of that. So, do you think it's a jungler's intuition? So, you know, the jungler was actually watching out for you, Prey, a lot. peanut.
네, 아무래도 이제 연습 경기에서도 좀 자주 나오다 보니까
You know, in scrims, we kind of played that composition a lot, and you know, like this play style where we, you know, care for our ADC and get our ADC fed to win the game.
팀원들이 그렇게 잘 받쳐줘서 성장을 했다고 했지만 실제
You know, being able to scale better because your teammates are able to support you. So this is a dive. You know, how did you feel this time? You know, were you scared? Yes, I was very scared. And you know, I was thinking back to myself, you know, I need to get fed, I need to scale. And you know, the team fight turned out positive for us. You know, in the current meta, your composition was not really the conventional one. It was kind of peculiar. So what do you think about the composition? You know, like the ADC going into the mid lane and scaling, I think that is the current meta right now in competitive play. And I think just scaling is the most important thing.
그리고 이제 3세트로 넘어가면서
And talking about the third set,
있었던 포인트가 BDD 선수가 이렐리아를 원래 야심차게 꺼냈다가
BDD, you know, played Irelia in the second set and he failed, and then he pulled it off again in the third set, and it actually turned out fine.
근데 이게 딱히 그 챔피언의 문제가 아니고
You know, it wasn't because of the champion.
문제가 있었다.
It was just more to do with the gameplay overall.
들어가서도 똑같이 해도 좀 괜찮은 자신이 있었다.
And the third set, he had the confidence
그 부분이
to succeed.
아무래도 중계진도 그렇고 선수도 뭐 팀들도 다 마찬가지인데 그래도 승률이 너무 안 나오지 않나요?
And I'm pretty sure all the casters and all the players agree that the win rate on Irelia is really bad right now.
진짜 많이 지긴 해서.
You know, Irelia did lose a lot. You know, those melee champions who we call sword masters are champions that need a lot of proficiency.
Yasuo.
You know, I just have faith in BDD though. You know, today MetLife is here as a guest caster. And were you conscious of him like in your gameplay?
인사했냐 하니까 안에서 막 손 흔들고 그때 인사했다고
You know, yeah, I said hi to him. You know, I waved hand.
멋진 모습을 보여주고 싶지 않나 이런 생각이 들었는데 3세트의 이제 활약 장면 저희가 보게 될
In the
텐데
third set,
찬 선수와 또
we have a few highlights prepared.
피너 선수와의 합작품도 이제 멋있었던 것 같습니다. 3세트 경기 장면
Let's have a look.
살펴보도록 하겠습니다. 깔끔, 완벽하게 깔끔했죠.
So this dive was just perfect, perfectly executed. And you know, Trondo made a terrible mistake here.
둘이 좀 의견을 종합해서
So we were able to make this dive successful because we just shared the knowledge before we ganked.
저걸 성공하면서 좀 굉장히 많이
And you know, succeeding on that gank was definitely crucial to us winning.
네.
하신 거였군요.
그리고 프레이 선수도 저는 최근에 좀 재밌었던 게 원래 원데이 쪽을 주로 하시다가
For you, Prey,
다시 또 이렇게 비원데이 쪽도
you normally fixate on playing those like conventional ADCs, but you're actually playing the unconventional ADCs today.
지금 다른 챔프를 할 수 있는 지금
You know,
유일한 시즌이라고
like
생각을 해서
this season, it's really hard to how to play the traditional ADCs, and you know, reluctantly I have to go with those peculiar ADCs.
많이 받아들이고 적극적으로 써보자 해서 뭐 자야락한데
And you know, I'm
앞으로도 뭐
more open-minded now, and I'm trying to use a variety of champions.
프레이의 태평양 같은 챔프도
네네.
Yes, a very broad champion pool indeed.
굉장히 또 기대가 됩니다.
Yes, definitely looking forward to your gameplay.
중요한 승리기도 하지만 이제 일정상으로도 공백이라면 공백, 킹존에게는 더 힘든 일정이
I mean, today was a very important game for you, and you know, schedule-wise, it was a very important game too.
우선은 팬분들께 감사하다는 인사를 프레이 선수가 해주시고.
So, Prey, would you like to, you know, say thank you to your fans?
질문을
의식하고 있었어요.
네.
약간 지금
아 들어가 있어요. 먼저 프레이 선수 팬분들께 인사 좀.
Okay, Prey, would you like to say something to your fans?
저희 아마 전 경기를 줬었는데 뭐 오늘 되게 이제 오늘 끝나고 이제 저희가
You know, we lost our previous match,
제발 이기고 휴가 가자 했는데
and you know, we wanted this win like dearly, and we wanted to go on vacation with a happy mind.
많은 응원해 주시면 감사하겠습니다.
And thank you guys for your support. It means a lot.
정말 요새 다 모든 팀들이 빡빡하게 달리다 보니까
You know, all the teams
정말 달콤한 휴식
have very busy schedule these days.
선수가 적당한 수위 조절해서 MS MSI 사실 많이 아쉬웠어요. 그 아쉬움은
And Khan, can you just shortly talk about your MSI performance?
각오 한마디 부탁드리도록 하겠습니다.
일단 자신감이란 게 과하면은 독이 되는 것 같았어요.
I feel like overconfidence can be a poison sometimes, and I definitely learned it in MSI, and I'll try to redeem myself in the future. Thank you.
네, 모든 어찌 보면은 그런 아쉬움이 결국에는 더 높이
It's
올라가는
definitely
동기부여가 되는 거니까요.
a very disappointing one in the MSI, but I'm pretty sure you will succeed in the future.
LCK에서 이제 리프트 라이벌즈의 또 LCK의 대표로서 출전을 하니까요. 팬분들
So in the Rift Rivals, Kingzone is going there as the LCK representative, and that's the end of the interview.
Thank you very much, Andy. A little bit brutal with that final question, bringing up international tournaments on the eve of Rift Rivals, exactly like what we just said.
If you talk mess, you gotta eat mess sometimes, Atlas, and that's what happened for Khan at MSI against Sword, against Griffin. So, at the end of the day, Khan is a prideful player, and he had a great game in this final game here. Kingzone Dragonx, game 1 wasn't great, but they were able to wrestle it back. They were the better team over 3 games, and that means they will go into the Rift Rivals break 6-2. Not a great series of events, but actually the same scoreline they were at in spring season, because they went flawless in the second round robin. Both their losses were in the first round robin. So Kingzone Dragonx on similar pace, but with a lot of teams around them that are also looking competitive as well.
Yeah, a match ahead of both Griffin and Gen G as well, so we'll have to see what happens after that one. But we still do have a matchup coming up tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thankfully, we had a 3-game series, so not long to wait before that one is going to be delivered to you from us. So about 20 minutes, I believe. We'll be getting into BBQ Olivers versus SK Telecom. And remember, SKT snuck their way in to top 4, and they will be heading to Rift Rivals as well. I still don't know what the best roster is for this squad, and we're going to have a few more clues from them against BBQ, a team that they should be able to take down.
And I believe every series we have remaining of the 3, 1 today and 2 tomorrow, are goodbyes to a Rift Rivals team. So we'll see how SKT are looking coming into the international break.
Yeah, best opportunity for them to try and get a win. We'll see whether they can do it after about a 20-minute break, guys. So maybe go get a snack or something like that, but don't be gone too long. We'll see you after that.
Coming up next, BBQ Olivers, SK Telecom T1, 2018 League of Legends Champions Korea Summer Split.